Doing good yourself?
It's either 1:15 or 7:30.
Yes.
Probably go 7:30.
7:30, yes, sir.
At this time, I hereby call this special meeting of the Board of Trustees of the Roby Consolidated Independent School District to order. Today is Monday, August 17th, 2020, and the time is now 7:30 p.m. Thank you, Mr. Carter. Would you verify that we are in compliance with the provisions of the Texas Open Meeting Act with regards to the notice of this meeting?
We are in compliance with the provisions of the Texas Open Meeting Act and with regard to the notice of this meeting.
Thank you. Let's see. Thank you, Mr. Carter. We've come to the portion of the meeting for this open forum. Is there anyone in attendance who would like to address this board, or has anybody contacted you?
No one has contacted us.
Okay. All right. Then at this time, the board will go into closed session in accordance with Texas Government Code, Chapter 551-074, to discuss personnel and at this time. So record shows that at 7:31, we're into closed session.
Let's make sure I do the one I wrote in.
How do you want to treat me?
I still want to get this one. That's all.
Me out of it.
Yes, sir, we are.
Okay. Let the record show that at 7:31, this board went into closed session, and at 8:30, the board came out of closed session, took a 5-minute break, and at this time, we'll continue on with the program, or with the board meeting. Number 2 on the action items is action to accept resignation of superintendent and release from contract. This time, I want to read resignation from the superintendent, Keith Cook. August 17th, 2020. Dear Roby CISD School Board, please accept my letter of resignation as Roby CISD Superintendent effective Monday, August 17th, 2020. My wife and I came to Roby 2 years ago because of the great reputation of the school and community. After living here for 2 years, I can honestly say that all the good things we heard are true. Roby CISD has excellent students and staff, as well as supported by the school board and community. Roby CISD is one of the few districts in the region in which the enrollment continues to grow. That is a result of all the hard work of everyone involved and the belief in their mission statement that all students can learn. I would personally like to thank the Roby CISD leadership team for their efforts. Also, I appreciate the patience and support from Mr. Jeff Posey and the rest of the school board for these last 2 years. I hope I have positively affected the district as much as it has me. Continue to focus on transformational relationships and service to others. Keep the momentum going, and God bless. Sincerely, Keith Cook. What's the pleasure of the board?
I'll make a motion to accept the resignation of Keith Cook, superintendent of the school, and release him from his contract.
I'll second that.
Dakota Raspberry has made a motion to accept the resignation from Keith Cook, seconded by Kevin Kelly. Any other discussion? I'd just like to say that I appreciate the time that he has spent here, the service that he has, and dedication that he had to the school system, to the district, to the community. We appreciate him, and we wish him and his wife both well. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries 7-0. All right, at this time we have action item number 3, action to appoint or hire acting or interim superintendent. What's the pleasure of the board?
I'll make a motion to appoint Mr. Carter as the acting superintendent.
second.
Okay, Dakota, Stormy Raspberry has made a motion to appoint Mr. Jason Carter as acting superintendent, seconded by Mark Harris. Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries 7-0. Mr. Carter, welcome to the position. We
Thank you.
look forward to working with you.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
At this time, action item number 4, resignation of school personnel. I have one letter to read. It says, Dear Roby CISD board members, please accept my letter of resignation as Roby CISD teacher effective Monday, August 17th, 2020. I have enjoyed my time as teacher at Roby CISD. I will miss the students and staff. Thank you for the opportunity to work at Roby CISD. Sincerely, Trellis Cook. What's the pleasure of the board?
I'll make a motion to accept the resignation of Trellis Cook.
I'll second it.
Dakota Raspberry has made a motion to accept the resignation of Trellis Cook, seconded by Chris Estes. Any other discussion? Once again, I'd also like to say that we appreciate her time and her commitment to the students and the staff here at Roby. And we wish her well and her husband well in her new position, getting closer to family. Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 7-0. Action item 5 is discuss the timeline for superintendent search. At this time, the board will go into further details and wait for more information, and we'll give more information at the September meeting for a timeline for superintendent search. Anyone else have any comments? Okay. Then, action item number 6, board workshop, discuss a proposed 2021. Ms. Lakey or
Okay.
Kickoff.
If you will look at your documents here, you'll have one that says chart of accounts. That is for your reference. Any numbers that you look for in any of the board documents, like when you get monthly statements, there's these numbers out beside it. This chart will help you to identify where everything is and how it is organized. So just make sure that you have that. You can throw it away if you want to, but it's certainly something that's really nice to kind of be able to know what's going on. Also, when we start talking about building the budget on a certain number, on a certain average ADA, we're doing it on the, is it 272, is that correct? Okay, if you'll look at the chart that I have here on your desk, that shows 3 years of data for the attendance rates. Attendance rates in the dots in the squares is from 2018. The triangles or the diamonds are from 2019. And then from the year that we just finished, those are the attendance rates for each 6 weeks. And you'll notice that the dotted line is what we built our budget on. So you'll notice that you always want to keep yourself a padding between your original numbers, the actual numbers you get, and what you built your budget on. And so you'll notice that the dot on the far right-hand side, that is currently the enrollment of the district. That's not what we ended for the 6 weeks, but that's currently, as of now, how many we have in the district. So we're looking at and anticipating a 272 ADA, just so that we keep that, because again, this is one of those years that's going to be major in trying to figure out how many are going to be here. So we want to make sure we keep a significant padding just to make sure that, we maintain, no reason to come back for a budget amendment. Because once again, I told you, I'm scared of this one. And so I'm just saying, I know what it's like. So, yes, I'm just saying. So, anyways, just so you'll have those are just for your reference. And then I'm going to let Ms. Lakey go ahead and go on with the rest of it.
Okay. My packet is, I can't hear me, I'm not doing that. My packet is the one that starts here. As you can see, the next page, that's our template. And the second column where it says 2021 is where we put in the data entry, things like that. At the very top is where it says 272. I know it's small, I couldn't get it any bigger, but our refined ADA, I built it at 270. And for, I just kind of wanted to show you all that. So,
Show it to us, we can't see it.
you can't see it. Yeah.
This
Get
is
it on your
the, this is
computer
the
and
template.
enlarge it.
This is the template that we have to use that generates all of the funding that shows us what we should anticipate from the state, what we should anticipate. So she just wants to show you that, you know, there is a calculation. It's, you know, that's how that is. And so it's
Right.
just, you know,
Like, for instance, on the third page, the one that doesn't have color, on the bottom where it says M&O state aid, just for instance, the foundation school fund with 2,201,476. That's something that I plugged in on the next page where we start our budget on page 1. In 5812. Okay, so do y'all want me to just go page by page and kind of point out maybe bigger things, or do y'all want to just glance at each, or look at each page and ask me questions? How do y'all want to do this?
and also
What would
understand
be
that,
easier?
also understand in a workshop, this is interactive. So
Right.
it's really not just a presentation.
Yeah.
It's literally however you guys want us to do it. This is really for you guys
Yeah.
to kind of get a preview of what we'll bring to you as the final proposed
Right.
budget for you guys to adopt at that meeting. So just understand any
Also
way that you
understand it's
want
not
to.
finished.
Yeah.
There's still some tweaks here and there, just like, for instance, I have to make sure that our contributions to our health insurance for our employees are in here. I've had a few sign up in the last few days, so that part would not be in here, and that's, you know, what our contribution times 12 for each employee. So that's a few $1,000s. So just let that be known that those are the kind of things that I have to tweak right now as I get everybody finished up for the new year.
Also, on the very last column, you'll see the percent increase and decrease. That's going to tell you in percentage what was different from last year to this year. One of the ones I'll let you look at and notice is, which one is that? Is that the
The
sub teacher?
The sub teacher for special ed, it's towards the bottom part of the
You'll
page.
notice that it says, was it 1,066.67%? The reason why is because we went from 575 to 3,500. So just understand, if you see some major percentage, it's not necessarily that's a massive amount. It's just based upon the previous year to now, what the percentage difference is. Okay. All right, go ahead.
Okay. All right, so all these numbers on the first page, 5,700 are your revenue. I'm sure y'all know that, but I just want to point that out. These numbers that I've put in here on the right side in 2021 next year recommended, those are the numbers that we are pulling from the template and things like that, okay? The 5812, that'll be part of your state revenue. Is there anything that pokes out to y'all on this right here? You'll also see that early ed and dyslexia salary are on there. Those weren't budgeted throughout the last few years. That's because TEA gave us new PIC codes to use, and those have to be budgeted because you have to spend that money. Either 55% up to 100% of the money that is mandated by that. Oh, a PIC code is, it's at the end of the code. Okay, so like, for instance, that special ed teacher, the subs down there, that was the 1,000% higher. So that 1 is the year, 2, 3 is the PIC code. That means special ed. So for instance, dyslexia is 37 and early ed is 36. Those have to be budgeted there, okay?
Those are also that right here, that is what's called a program intent code. So you'll notice on the bottom right-hand corner, that's what those codes are, okay? Just so you have it, so you'll notice that on 21 is gifted and talented, 22 is career and technology. So just understand that PIC code stands for program intent code.
Every one of these numbers means something. All right, so we'll go to page 2. If y'all want to just scan down there, I don't feel like there's much of anything that's too different. I mean, I know there's some blanks here, but we didn't have summer school Yeah, we'll have summer school this year. We'll have it this next year, so I'll put something in there. I don't know if we'll do that yet, so let me just highlight the things that we. I'm not gonna have any teacher's aid, comp ed, that's that blank for this year. All these, pretty much most of this page is automatically, when I do payroll, it's automatically figured by the system. So that's what most of these numbers are. Whenever I put some salary in that summer school, those at the bottom will fill in, okay? Page 3, anybody have anything to say there? Take it away. That's still all the benefits. Anything in the 61-4s are benefits. TRS care on behalf, things like that. Workers' comp, I have to put those in by hand. Unemployment comp, those things are all numbers that we get from TASB that they give us for the year that I have to pay.
This, the 123 that's going up, is that because of,
23. On page 3?
yes?
Oh, yeah, that's the, from the sub.
Okay.
So, yeah, that's definitely go up because we didn't have even maybe barely 500 last year's schedule.
Right.
So, yeah, that's why that. Yes, we might have to. Just depends on how that works out because we don't have a special ed teacher right now.
And then some of the codes that you'll notice too, there may be a massive increase in one area and a decrease in another. That just means that maybe a teacher moved from one to another. So Miss Orr went from the regular classroom to special ed. So salary had to move. And so so when you see some of those things, it's not necessarily whompy jawed. It just means it's in a different location. So that's kind of what that means.
Okay. Page 5. There's not much to say on this one. These are all supply codes that are pretty comparable from the year before. If anything, I've cut a little of them. Anybody? Page 6 will be very much the same. These are travels and the rest of the supply in function 11, which is our instruction. Everybody, all the teachers have a supply code for their classroom. And then all of our travel for our students for instruction down there. Oh, as you'll see at the very bottom of page 6, there is a code in 116639. It says iPads and laptops. Mr. Carter, do you want to explain that one? Also, I have it doubled. It should be $22,130. We found that out today.
That is the operation connectivity one that we had that they have it for us. So the full amount that we were charged was $44,260. 50% will be us, so that's to the $22,130, and then the state will. So we'll revise that. We thought that the amount that we would pay was $44,000. It's actually $22,000. Yes. So that's that. Yes.
Okay.
And then so that the amount that we're getting back from that, will that just be reallocated throughout the?
Well, no, yes. So in other words, that will just be.
It'll just be back in the.
That'll just be money that's just money that we can, put, yes.
Yep.
Okay. Page 7. Okay. This one looks very high. Okay, so in function 12, which is our library, there is one that says health for library, but that librarian and our nurse are split between both. So she does both jobs of that. So that salary went up, so obviously the health for that went up. Children will be paying more in that area for the health. Also, there is a 400% on the supply budget for the library, but we plan to buy books and things like that this year. And we got software because we have actually a checkout system now, correct?
Yeah, so essentially we're gonna have two different, a lot of places use Accelerator Reader and get points. We're gonna use Read and Quiz. It's the same as the alternative too. And so instead of spending the money on the full Accelerated Reader program, we're gonna spend less on that, still get the same thing out of it, and be able to have money left over that we can actually purchase books that kids want to read. So in other words, they can actually request a book. We will purchase those books so that they can read, as opposed to some of those in there from like 1972, which are classics. I understand completely, but some of our kids really want to read
There's
the
some
new
there from
stuff.
when I was in school, so. yeah.
So,
You found your name still sounding it, so.
I can find it, I can guarantee it. All right, the rest of that page, guys, is really just, professional development is 13. So those will be the things that, like the workshops the teachers go to that aren't covered by our, contract. So that one's very easy. 23 is our principals. That's gonna just be their salaries there and all the benefits there. It's not much of a big thing there. Page 8. You'll see the rest of the benefits at the top. The leave pay and the employee benefits, you'll see those throughout each function code. You guys know what those are. Our leave pay is the pay that we pay back to our employees who don't use their local days. You get a sub pay for those days and you get paid back in June if they don't take their days. Of course, their state days roll over, but we do not roll over local days every year. So those are paid out in June. Employee benefits is the 1.5% that we give our employees in December. Okay, so those are all based on their salaries, and that's calculated by me, and it goes into each function.
and then the leave pay for the staff, correct me if I'm wrong, but if they use it, then that portion will not be given to them at the end. So it'll still remain in the budget at the end of the year if indeed they do use it. So it's not a guaranteed amount that they're gonna get. It's just we have to budget for what would be the maximum to ensure that we have everything in. Yes, sir.
All right. And then once again, you see supply budget, travel, dues, and then 31, it will be your counselor function. You can see her salary is split between high school and elementary, and then those benefits below are all the same as what the ones are above. Y'all have any questions on that? No? Okay, page 9. Okay, those are all same stuff going down through here. Now go to the middle of the page when you're gonna get in transportation, you'll see that 1,239. Those should be switched. So the 55,000 should be under salary bus drivers and the transportation. So we're putting all the maintenance staff with salary this year. And so they will, that's why partly that it's part of one of our maintenance guys who drives a bus as well. So that's why it's split between like that. So they still clock in. They also are eligible for overtime, which is also budgeted. But we will, that will be something that can be monitored and things like that. Makes it easier for us to do expenditure reporting at times that we can get it finished for the end of the year, so you don't have to roll it over into the year and things like that. Does that make sense to you guys? Okay. And we've talked to them about that. They know that is coming as well. All right. Anything else on that page, guys?
So far, everybody's been hourly,
I've had 4 hourly employees this year.
and they have to clock in.
They clock in and out, and they will still clock in and out next year. Because you still have to make sure that if they are getting overtime, they are paid for it. But it is also budgeted there. It will be in 51 in maintenance. Okay. Any other ones there? Okay. Page 10. Here we are. Okay, insurance, those are TASB insurance. All right, 36, everybody might know that that is extracurricular activities. So that'll include athletics, UIL, those things. Let's see. Y'all see anything big you want to talk about there?
I haven't seen no contingencies built in yet.
There is some, yeah, I think I built contingency in, I think there's some in 11, and there will be some in 51. I put 10,000 in contingency in 51, and we also, I budgeted a line item for a new oven in the cafeteria, because they need one, and we're gonna buy one in September. It's in there, in the budget as well. What else do y'all see right there, guys? Okay, 11. Budget a little bit more for officials. For football, the fees went up, apparently, so budget a little more there. We're probably, let's see, our athletic trainer every year is that same amount. Software, I don't see anything big showing up there that's, we added a budget line for golf. So there'll be a supplies and a travel budget for golf. As well as softball. I don't think that there was a girls softball budget either. Alright. Anything else there, guys? Let me move on to page 12. Most of this is going to be in the 6400s, which is going to be your travel. So big things there will be your post-district travel. That would be anything, y'all know what that is. That's state track meet, things like that, playoffs. There's a travel budget for golf right there.
Now where the studs can go.
The where the studs can go.
Let's see, right?
Yeah.
Travel stuff.
Students, yeah.
The stud. Just one.
Just one can go.
No, only one.
All right. Also added a powerlifting. No. Yeah, no, we didn't add it. We added it somewhere else.
It was back
It was already there, yeah. Maybe it was supplies, yeah. You're right.
You have travel too.
Mm-hmm. I think we already had a travel, yeah, we definitely had a travel one already, but.
12.
Mm-hmm.
There's a new one on OAP travel.
Yeah, one act like. Mm-hmm. That is true. What? Oh, yeah. So. Yeah, for sure. You know, obviously, if you go over and travel in some areas, you can, it's still in the same function code, so you can still take from the others. It's, in essence, a shared travel budget.
So when you look at the functions on that sheet page, if we don't use the football, then, and we use more in basketball, that padding goes with us. So it's not, so that's why there's a lot of padding built in some places, because we know throughout the year, one may cancel out another. Okay.
And then you got your district athletic fees. All those things will be paid in September 1, so miscellaneous fees. A lot of those we use for entry fees for like FFA, obviously, are down here. As you can tell, we didn't use much last year because we didn't go anywhere. So. Page 13, guys, we have, I've still left the salaries in here, just to stay budgeted. As you can see in 41, superintendent salary is still in here. And all those benefits underneath.
The secretary, she's a 12-month contract.
She is. The superintendent one is, the others are 11. Okay. We have legal fees for the wind project items at the bottom, towards the bottom where it says legal fees wind project. I added that amount in there. There will be fees associated with this thing. Our audit services went up $500. Seems to be par for the course.
You couldn't haggle with them?
Do what?
You couldn't haggle with them?
I don't have much reach on that anymore.
Oh, man.
Alright. Okay, here's one that needs to be talked about, the Education Service Center. That line with the 416239 where it says a $500 increase. Well, that's my oversight. That's what that is. So for this next year, we budgeted 10 days for me to have oversight, and we went down to 6,000 instead of the 18,000 we were budgeted, and went to 20. So I think that with me understanding this a lot better, just said for us to go down some. So we just budgeted that for that, anything that arises.
That was only you?
It's only me.
Cook or anything else last year too?
It's just mine. Yeah, anything that's, I guess that's not everything, I wouldn't want to say that. Copiers are in there, postage machine. And then we have our supply budget for 41 function. School board business admin. Page 14. All right, here we go. This is where we start our function 51. Here's our maintenance. As you can see, I budgeted $23,000 for overtime for those employees who do hit overtime. Our salaries are right underneath that. And then you have your student workers, all your work comp, all those benefits underneath there. Do y'all see anything that you want to address there? And then below that, you'll have all of our utilities. Our utilities for electricity were only $55,000 this year compared to $75,000 last year. I went ahead and budgeted back up to $75,000 because we weren't closed for months. All right. I guess something worth noting is the ESC WTTC. They went up $9,000 this year for that. That's something that we get every year and that we should have. We need it.
That's the network services, so that's what keeps us running the fiber, all of the actual communication, that's where that comes out of for the region center. And that's a consortium, so that's actually all the other regional schools play a part of that so that it keeps the cost down for everybody.
Okay. Page 15. Here's our contingency at the top of the page. That's 10,000. A little padding there, so if y'all feel like y'all want to look at a mower or something like that, I don't know what.
Or we're still looking at a gator.
or maybe, yeah, the Gator.
I believe that was the two items that my understanding was Gator mower, not sure which order, but yes.
So that's where I have that built. So that's where that would go if we did get that. And then we have our property insurance, right below that. Says it was up 31%, but it was budgeted incorrectly last year, so that's why we had to pay over that. 53 is technology things. That's gonna be a lot of our, this from the ESC service contract, the software infrastructure, TSDS, info security co-op.
The cameras right before that 25,000, was that the grant?
No, that grant is not, that security grant you're talking about that helps with the fencing and all that, that's not, that was, that code, we didn't budget anything in it last year, so, that was when they installed cameras
That
and
was
things
when
like
we
that.
made all the upgrades in here, yes, sir.
I just left it there in case we did have something, you know, we had to upgrade there. I didn't budget anything, but that code is still in there. But nothing touching it this year. Okay. So this year, also something that will be brought up next meeting, I budgeted all our daycare stuff here, okay? So our salary will come there. Also, I will be moving daycare salary from 11 to 61 with a budget amendment. Because after I've talked to the auditing staff, if you are not providing instruction at the daycare, it needs to be coded in 61, not 11. So I'll just be moving that salary from 11 to 61 with y'all's approval, as of course.
So you'll keep all of the expenses separated?
Yes, so all those are new codes right there that I made this year. So, you know, their benefits, their leave pay, if they so still have it, and all their salary and benefits that go underneath it. I'm probably gonna go ahead and build, I did already do one. Daycare maintenance and repair supplies are also all in there. I'll probably go ahead and build one for utility as well, if that's for they have, you know, their telephone landline over there. So I'll probably build that in there instead of putting it in maintenance. Just so we can have everything separate. We know what we're spending, we know what we're making.
Don't get gas, electric, everything. Since they got separate meters over, we can keep up.
We can, yes. I just need to figure out which ones those are and I'll get that in there. So that'll be, let me write that down. Utilities.
And that's what's nice about moving things and using these codes is when we want to look up just a program, we can look up a certain code and we can see all those things that are generated with that one, as opposed to having to look at 11 in other places, we can have it all in one. So it really does help us out.
And I could probably really give you a pretty good estimate of what we did. I know I can tell you what we made and mostly what we spent.
That's what I was wondering.
And there, yeah, I can probably give you that pretty close.
Kendra, is that 52, is that projected on moving that other one over? Or you still gotta move something else into that daycare?
52.
The 52,165.
Over here.
Total.
Oh,
The total.
no, this is for next year. This is what, no, this one will have nothing. The totals that you see on, next to that 52 to the left, that's gonna be your totals from supplies and maintenance. The only thing that's not in there right now is those salaries. They're coded in 199.11. So I will move, these to the right are the salaries they'll be making this next year. You can't see their aid salaries from this right now because it's mixed in 199.11. You won't be able to tell. Yes. So I'll have that in a form for y'all next time for those budget amendments, and you'll know exactly how much salary we spent in daycare.
Yeah, I was just curious what it was costing us to operate and what.
Yeah. Well, as far as for next year, I'm thinking 52,000, yes, with salary and maintenance. probably a little bit more with electric, gas, and phone. Do we even have gas over there?
So,
Used to be some.
Okay.
Did that, did the daycare stay relatively even, or were we way upside down?
It really wasn't bad. Like I said, we only spent about 3,200 for supplies. And, there's probably a little bit of maintenance in 51 and
I
70.
think when we looked at that, we were actually more upside down in the cafeteria than we were at the daycare.
But we side shifted aides over to
Yes,
daycare.
yeah, and
That wasn't a picked up position.
No.
It's probably if you not factored in all the upfront costs and stuff.
Right, right.
all the ones, all, yeah,
I'm just saying that one year
For
the
sure.
expense on how we
Yes, sir.
yeah,
operated.
absolutely. We won't have those expenses this year unless, you run through new employees, then they have to be certified and all that stuff. You have to pay for those fees again.
And that's nice in getting it all together so that we can make those determinations as to, is it effective, is it not effective, what can we do differently, those types of things. We can run reports very quickly to see where we are and what our position is so that we can make determinations as to how can we make it, work a little bit better if we need to, or if it's working good as it is.
Okay. Let's skip on down to 93, which is, that's our SSA stuff, Tri-County. It's split between two, the 231,330 comes to 62,000. And that's what we contribute back to Tri-County. Then our abstinence programs and our PEPSA. That's the pregnancy program. And then I didn't budget any residential care this year because after talking for special ed, a year or two ago, we had a student that we paid residential care for. He said that there's no point in budgeting that because it's very few and far in between. So take that out of the budget. So I took that 22,000 out. That gave us a little more room. All right. 16, okay, you can see that is transfers out, food service, operating, that we haven't, in previous years, gone crazy with cafeteria because we didn't spend as much money. As of when I looked at it yesterday, we still had $6,000 left in this cafeteria budget, so instead of it having to come out of fund balance, we might just make it. So we still have to buy a little food for the end of this year that goes into September. Those have to be put in the 1920 year. Okay, so we're gonna be right on the edge there. Okay?
For the first time in 2 years.
Yes.
Did the state pay for the lunches we provided during the March?
It's, go ahead. Go right ahead.
Do you want to answer that question?
No.
We're still working on that ourselves, so, but yes, there are some ways that we can have some of that. It's just a matter of finding out exactly how we can run that. So yes, there is some,
And if it'll,
exactly.
if they will let us do it.
Yeah, it's,
but if they pay it.
Yes.
yeah, there's some, it says yes, but then there's some gray areas, so we've got to make sure that we look at it right. But yes, there is a potential that will be the case.
You are sounding like warranty claims now.
Because it sounds like that when we read it.
All right, now the last part of this is the Fund 240, which y'all know is cafeteria. It's page 17. I have not put in revenue for this yet. So that's why you'll see all these negative 100s on the side. I will probably go ahead and budget 22,000 again. That's usually around-ish, but since COVID, obviously we only made 16,690 this year. Excuse me. So I'll put that estimated revenue in there and so on for that. Salaries are in, all the benefits there. I need to put in sub pay, a little bit there. And then their leave pay and employee benefits are there, and then
Just real quick, since we're talking about the cafeteria.
Okay.
Do we have any other people in the school that are certified to serve food?
All 8 have now been, am I correct? And Ms. McWilliams?
And-
Okay.
And
Yes.
me,
Okay, there you go. So,
I
yes.
can. I have a
Yes.
food server thing, and
We've never done that before, but in case we have to.
if it's a dire emergency, I can serve food.
Please, yeah.
But yes, they in fact actually did. Y'all do
Please
that
be my
training
last
2 days
resort.
or last week?
Last Wednesday or so?
Okay,
Yes.
so yes, everybody has, yes.
And I think we do have one cafeteria, so 2, that is gonna be on this year. Then you'll see your software contract maintenance and repair down here. Commodity storage, that's, if y'all didn't know, that's just something that they pull from sometimes. Y'all know what that is? Cafeteria can order from there, because they have bulk items and things like that, and they can order from there instead of ordering from Labatt. So they kind of just hold on to those things and give it to us when they need things. Then on your food costs down here, I put in 85,000 for this year. We usually go over, so I just want to play around with it if we can. If not, we can at the end of the year. All right, anything else there, guys? Oh, the oven's at the bottom, if you can see. We budgeted 7,600 for that, per their estimate. And that's kind of all of that. And then, at the very last is our totals. So for our revenues, 4,074,229 per, and our expenditures at 4,005,000.
That's 69.
I didn't hear, I can't hear what you're saying.
About
69.
6,900.
Oh. 40. As I'm working this worksheet right now, I'm still 40 under. 40, and then we still have 40,000 to work with. Some of that will go through the health, like I said, but I'm still working on that. So that's what I'm looking at right now, if y'all want to do that.
That number will change just a little bit when
It
you
will.
plug in
It will.
some of the other stuff.
Yes, and so, all right, we'll go through this relatively pretty quickly. The one, page 1 through 8 is gonna be our federal programs. I am not done with these. So, like for instance, 211 is Title I at the top, and 2021 next year round commended, 61,188, that's what we will get. I'll use 56,000 of that for salary. That's page 1 of 8. And I have to tweak the supplies and things like that to make them even out. I haven't got to that part yet. I was just making sure I had enough for what I do to payroll and things, okay? And page 2 is 212, that's our migrant fund. Same thing with that one. I've got the 9714 is what we're flowing through this year, for this 2021 year. And then I need to mess with the supplies and stuff in there. Page 3 is 224, and page 4 is 225. We don't get those numbers until October.
Why did migrant drop so much? Change it out personnel.
Yeah,
Oh,
we missed a payment.
Yes, it would have been, yes.
So I can't really do much with 224 and 225 right now. Those numbers I'll get from the Tri-County. Page 5 is 255, Title II. We're getting 8,796, most of which will be used for payroll. Actually, all of which will be used for payroll. Page 6 is our REAP. I don't have that number yet either, but what did I say that was in, Sam? I'll get that number as well. So sorry, I don't have that one yet. And then Title 4, 289, that's used to secure a language teacher, Spanish. And that's 7,500 of it flows through to our district. That's also part of our SSA at ESC. They take some of it for fees, and then that's the end of that. Like at the last page on 8, you're gonna see that the expenditures and revenues are very apart, but I still have to mess with those. Okay? All right, last few things. Budget 2000 report. I shouldn't have some of these funds in here that you don't need to see, but those are those totals for those federal funds. As you can see, our general fund, we get 97% of that. This is what we're using. Some of these obviously, these percentages won't be correct because it's not all the way finished. Same thing with page 2. Okay. All right. Budget report 2050. That is our reports by functions. As you can see, instruction, as of right now, is at 54% of our budget. That's gonna, extracurriculars are off at almost 5%, admin at 6%, maintenance takes up almost, 12.5% of our budget. That's just a breakdown of those things, guys. Budget 2100.
Will that instruction percent, will that go up?
It's gonna be all payroll. Do what?
Is that 54%, is that gonna go up?
It
You stopped that.
probably should.
When you can finish it.
Oh, yeah. When I finish. Oh, the whole.
Yeah,
The whole-
There's some other things.
Yeah,
you
there's
know.
other things that, yeah, it will go up. It will. That one will. Most of the other ones should stay pretty close. All right, budget 2100 by organization. That's by, I know it says Roby High School, Roby Elementary and things in here. We all obviously know we're one campus, but I use the 001 and 101 to separate supply budgets and things like that. Still one campus, I like it to know what we're spending in each place. So that's something I didn't change from whenever that happened. What's your question?
No.
Okay. 701 is superintendent, 702 board, and 750 is the business office. Those are 4.3 and 2% respectively. And then our generic, that's gonna include all your federal things. Okay? Last page is your budget, 2150, page 2 and 3. Estimated revenue. So 5,700 is gonna be your local taxes and other revenue. State program and revenues based on our ADA, and that's what we're estimating to get from our state programs. Our object group is gonna be cafeteria. I haven't done that yet, so that's why that number's not in there. And last page is separated by object codes, which is your 6100s are payroll, 6200 contract services, 63s are supplies, 64s are travel and miscellaneous fees. 89 is, 6600 your capital outlay, and 8900 your object groups, or, yes, that would be, no, I'm sorry, I don't know what that is. What is that? Other non-operating expenses. Thank you for the chart. You're welcome. All right, guys, what questions do y'all have for me, really, in terms of other things that we're curious about?
Y'all feel pretty confident in the 272 ADA?
I do, yeah.
What is
I
the
mean, we'll-
current, isn't it enrollment, hasn't it gone up since last?
We were 307 at the end of last year.
307, and then, but we're right now, we're looking at 30. It was, but I think it was, what is it now?
I had 308 last week, we registered 4 kids today, so.
Okay, so we're looking at, and the issue is that some of those pre-K kids do not count, so we gotta drop that off, and so I think it's like 310, I think it's 310, 311 and a half. No, we don't have like a little legs and no body, it's just, that's the percentage that's out there, so, but, yes, so that's, but we're somewhere in that range, so we really feel like that if we can keep it down and we get more money, that's fantastic, and so we definitely don't want to go the opposite way, so we really feel like that's gonna be a pretty good, we really want to kind of stay within that chart that you saw, we really want to try to keep that as low as possible and let the enrollment go up, that's fantastic, and that just gives us money at the end of the year that we're able to do things we really want to.
Predominantly, we stayed about 2 to 3 up at a time, and this is a 10.
Yeah, and so, and the issue is that with so many moves and not knowing who's gonna go home, it's really scary to try to bump too high and to kind of just stay where we normally would be. And let's see if we can, it's just, this is a scary year to kind of figure out exactly what's fixing to happen.
Because of COVID.
Yes, and it's just, and that's, really honestly, it could be a very good ADA year for us. It could be a fantastic one because we have that new flexibility in the coding. And it could be a very scary year because of the coding. So it's really gonna be something that we're gonna monitor throughout the time, and so.
How many students did we have that want to do distant this first semester?
15, I believe, as of today.
Is that all in high school or is that split between?
No, that's all.
Two
all of
high
our
school, I
kids
think.
requested.
I think two high school.
3 high school.
Three.
Three high school.
As far as budgeting aspect, is there anything perceived that has to go into possibility providing services, like online services?
As of right now, everything's already built into the budget. I don't think anything that's just outstanding. I mean, it's just, a lot of it's gonna come out of the technology. I mean, we may have to use a little bit of contingency, but I don't anticipate that. I think we really did a good job at the end of last year, being able to use some of the stuff that we didn't need to purchase. So I think we're in a really good standing for that. And with those new PC laptops coming in, that will tremendously help us greatly in the classroom because that'll give us webcams and microphones for our staff and some flexibility in the event that we do have to close down, which, I mean, let's be honest, there is absolute possibility, so we have to be prepared for that, so.
So our rollover money from last year was pretty well just not having school. About 75, 80,000 of it was not spent.
1920? I'm talking about 1920?
Like what we're
Savings
fixing
and
to roll over.
utility we got, just because we were closed down, didn't get
Yes.
as much, and so we had a little extra. Is that what you're getting at, Chris?
And I'll
Now-
know a better estimate for you guys after payroll. For all
Now,
estimate
and-
approvals, so,
Yeah, and also on that same point, the money that we're going to put in, that is one thing. There are the grants that we are still going for that will hopefully take care of some of the stuff that we had to purchase on our own. So, I mean, we could have very easily had a larger fund balance or a large surplus going into fund balance. It was just, the state said, oh, we'll pay for it, but you pay for it first and then we'll get with you later, which you all know how that works. And so, but there was things we had to purchase immediately.
Yeah.
And so that's what dropped that number down. And so hopefully some of that grant money will come back in to supplement so that we can actually, the money that we roll over would actually be a higher amount. And so that's what we're working on now.
Have the new tablet things, have they already been ordered?
They have been ordered, yes, everything is on its, we don't have a timeline yet. We're supposed to be getting, I signed it last night, so we should be getting the invoice soon. As soon as we get it and send it back, then it's immediately released. So everything that we purchased was not on back order. So hopefully those will flow to us very quickly. So that's the goal, but we all know how that works now, so we'll see.
Anyone else have any questions over the budget?
it's my first time, Shelby.
Then, before we adjourn, we need to back up just a little bit to action item number 3. It says appoint, action to appoint acting superintendent. Mr. Carter is going to be taking on dual role, and we discussed about bumping his salary, so we need to put the stipend, we need the stipend in a motion, which is $1,250 a month.
So make a separate motion for that.
Do what?
You want a separate motion for that, or we need to add it to the?
Since we've already made the motion, we'll just have a separate motion, and that'd be okay, Mr. Carter?
Yeah, I think you can just amend the motion. I think you can amend it, so just make the motion to amend. I think we'll do it. And so just make the motion to amend and appoint Mr. Carter acting with the salary that you, with the stipend. With the stipend. Stormy made it, and then Mark seconded it.
To amend.
Okay.
Would you like to amend that motion to include a $1,250 stipend?
Or, yes.
Okay. So Stormy has amended his motion to hire Mr. Carter as the acting superintendent with the $1,250 stipend. Is there a second?
Second.
Well, I mean, the second was by Mr. Harris. Are you, everybody good with that? Everybody understand what we're doing here? No confusions? If we are, we'll discuss it again next month. Okay.
Is that $1,250 or is that per month? Which one?
$1,250 per month.
Okay, okay. All right, okay. All right, there we go. You're good.
Okay. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. 7-0. All right. Sorry about, not getting that first. All right, anything else? Once again, I want to appreciate everyone's time tonight, working on this budget. Kendra, we really appreciate you, the work that you've done on this budget and the perfection that you're getting to on this. We really appreciate that. Anything else? Dan, we need one more motion.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Chris has made a motion.
Second.
Marty second. All those in favor say aye. Motion carries.